Good morning, Big Brother Hometown's viewing lounge. It's the Lord's Day, and we're here to talk about the glorious Day 7. But I need to read something from the good book. Luke 3:14 says, "The trials and tribulations you face for a lackluster Day 5 and Day 6 will all be made worthwhile for the results of Day 7." Because, girl, she juicy. Let's bring in my guests because we have so much to talk about, and I have some really great guests. Girl, he's the messiest person I know, besides maybe myself, the winner of Cutthroat Season 8. We're not letting it go. It's Mitchell Stokes.
Carl, Max is the new HOH. I'm in so much trouble. I cannot, I'm dead. This is the worst possible outcome for me. The worst week ever. I don't even know what to do about it. Oh, hey, Max.
How's it going, Mitchell? What was that I heard about being in danger?
Max, I'm so happy you could join us for your first appearance here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me on this show that I've never been on before. I hope I can do you proud.
Oh my goodness. We have so much to talk about.
Finally.
I know. Yesterday was so fun. Yesterday.
Truly,
I don't know.
Truly so good.
How did we make 40 minutes to talk about yesterday on T? I don't know how we did it.
I don't know. I mean, a big reason I brought Blake was like, hey Blake, once you on number one, period, but two, I gotta fill
the entertainment.
So let's talk about Day 7. So just for the formalities, we had our Invisible Maze HOH competition where the podium twist continues to deliver. In third place, Robert wins the block vote advantage for the second week in a row. Tommy, when we'll get to Tommy, wins safety. Girl, you needed it. And winning HOH, AJ Norris, who has thrown this house into a fucking tizzy.
Yes.
Let's just talk about AJ. Let's talk about AJ. Let's just hop right into AJ. I love him.
Yes.
I'm so happy because he's the type of player I love to see, because I hate when people just like go with whatever the house wants just because, oh, I want to play nice. He has been like, oh, y'all want these people? They're off the table. Oh, you all want these people up? No, I'm not doing it. And I'm going to let them know that you want them on the block. I'm not doing it. I'm putting up your faves.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me because I think a lot of times, especially early on in Big Brother, people are like you said, they're going to very go with the flow. What does the house want? Let me not make waves. But AJ is a type of player that is bored by that type of gameplay, but he also is super self-aware. That was a thing that came across to me yesterday. For a couple days now, I feel like the narrative has been like, what's AJ really doing? Where does he really feel like he stands? And yesterday, winning HOH showed me a lot of self-awareness in AJ's game, knowing that, he's been hinting about it, oh, there's not these big groups, but and I'm not a part of a group at all. So what do I do with that information? And I was curious to see what he was going to do. And then for him to just he just was a sponge yesterday. People were running to him. He soaked up every piece of information, and but he wasn't but he held it all. He wasn't leaky. You know what I mean? He squeezed out the best little pieces of juice to the different people that he talked to throughout the day to stir up some more drama that's not going to affect him. I'm super impressed with him and the way that he's managed this so far. And ultimately, if he does pull off this plan, which I'm sure we'll talk about, his HOH ultimate plan or whatever he's calling it, I'm sure we'll be very impressed with AJ's HOH.
Yes, agreed. AJ went around on his calls and just really got more of a sense. He was kind of in a dark room with just a little flashlight at the beginning, but now the room is slowly becoming brighter. He's slowly beginning to see some of the contours of the house, and he's trying to figure out where he fits into it. And now that he has this power, he can start wielding it to bend the game to his wishes. And it was a joy to watch.
So good. So let's hop into it. The theme of the day 7 is delusion. Convince yourself. There are a lot of delusional people in this house. Let's start with, we got Tommy and Abby, who are still # Team Plague Doctors. That shit, it's the Titanic. That shit has broken.
It's been sailed.
It is sunk in the middle. Like, Daniel, Artie, and Jabbar have all know that they are like, this really is not a 5-some we really want to move forward with, and it was just a formality's sake. Tommy and Abby still riding this bad boy, and they're feeling really good about their games. They're like, we're in a 5-some, we're running this shit, we're in such good spots. And Tommy, unknowingly, the whole house was turned. For the most part, we've talked about for the past couple of days, Angelica and Erica have really been, sowing these seeds against Tommy, and AJ winning was like them just like the sprinklers went on all max, all the seeds just started growing, but Tommy wins safety. They can't target Tommy. Tommy
desperately needed it. And he did. That he needed it.
So AJ does the next best thing. If I can't directly target Tommy, let me go after the people that Tommy is with, which is where we find ourselves with a short list of Nikki, Daniel, and Abby, 3 of his closest connections. Yes, there are people who are not connected to AJ at all, which is important for AJ, but most importantly, it's very clear to the house that they're connected to Tommy. So the fact that you're not connected to AJ and you're connected to somebody else, that's a double whammy. And with Tommy being the house target, some people are going to have to, get caught in the crossfire of truly an attack on Tommy. Let's talk about just this in general.
It happens so fast. That's the thing that is like, that's what the thing that's fickle in these games, right? Like, you could be in a great spot at the top of the mountain, and then like someone puts something together, and in this case it was Angelica putting together that Robert and Nikki and Tommy had a group chat that she didn't know about, and it just she just wrecked his game so fast. And like, Angelica's, like we've been saying over and over again, she's really good. She's really perceptive, and I give her most of the credit for ruining Tommy's game. Maybe that's not the best read on things, but I think for the most part, it will stem from the fact that Robert didn't tell Angelica about a group chat. Nikki accidentally leaked it, and Tommy is the one that is paying the price for that group chat, plus for the lie about the block vote for no reason.
Yeah. And he picked,
among other things,
he picked Angelica out of all people to cover for him. That's just what
right.
But
it's the thing you see every season, but especially this season, I feel like is such a heavy narrative of like the yes girl, give me nothing mentality. Like, there are so many players in this game that are they're investing in like 3 or 4 people, and then they're just like, fingers crossed, I hope this person doesn't win HOH. Like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
Quite literally, these 3 people specifically, plus Lance and Danielle, who ultimately are the other people not connected to AJ, but ultimately are only spared by the fact that the house wants them up in general. And AJ's like, well, nah, I'll save them for next round when y'all can win HOH and take them out. I'm not going to do your dirty work. If y'all want them out, y'all can take them out. I don't know what these people are doing. And like, I have played orgs with people, and hey, Barrett, if you're watching from Padlock 1, you wouldn't talk to me, and you were just praying and hoping I wouldn't win power. Like, I don't get the sentiment. Like, you don't need to be close to everybody. You don't need to have final twos with everybody. But if you make no effort with somebody and then they win, you can't sit here and play the victim. Like, Daniel's running around like, woe is me. Like, here's my funeral. Oh, maybe not an appropriate topic for the house, but like,
sure.
Oh, here's my grave. I'm just gonna go lie in it now. Like, goodbye, y'all. It's been fun. It's like, you did it to yourself.
But also like, let me give you all the ammunition to then now run to AJ and say like, Daniel's really worried about you being the HOH. Like, I don't know. I think at one point in my own playing in orgs, I think obviously we've all fallen victim to that. I'd be like, oh my God, you're so reactive. Like, I think now, like, if I was in that situation, I'd run to AJ, I'd be like, AJ, my man. Like, I'd
So great.
lie out the butthole, like, just like, yeah, I'm so glad that you won. Oh my God, we have such a good relationship. And I think I saw Courtney to do that to an extent yesterday, where she got on call with him and she was like, I know we haven't talked in a few days, but like, I just felt so good about our call. Like, and I just like, I don't know. I don't want to be bold. I don't want to be too bold in assuming that like, that I'm safe here, but like, I'm assuming that I'm safe here. I love it.
Speak it into existence. Jabbar actually had to like coach Daniel on how to approach AJ. Like Jabbar was just like, Daniel, you need to go in confident and not being panicky and assuming that you're going to be a target, which I think Daniel needed to hear. And Jabbar, like AJ's first call after he won HOH was with Jabbar, and Jabbar really fought for Daniel. And like Daniel is one of the people that AJ was not feeling too good about. And I don't know if Jabbar like influenced AJ's nominations, and no. So
I
heard.
I think it hurt Daniel, and I think it hurt Jabbar a lot, actually.
Okay.
From I didn't hear that call specifically, but hearing AJ talk about that call, I was like,
Afterward.
ooh, that did not go well.
AJ feels like Jabbar is very cagey and is only likes to reveal certain things and likes to just agree with whatever you're saying, but like in a way that it's very clear that you're just agreeing to agree and that's not truly how you feel. Because Jabbar got caught on that call, like Jabbar being like, oh, you want to target Daniel? Absolutely. But then immediately started throwing Abby under, like Jabbar exposes the plague doctors to AJ, but blames Abby for it and is like, hey, like Daniel's like a really like upstanding guy. Like if you make a deal with him, like he's one to honor it. But you just said that you were content with whatever AJ did, but now here you are trying to Jabbar's not doing a very good job of
hiding his intention.
Exactly. Like you can't start off cagey, but then start showing it a little bit because that immediately shows that you're being cagey.
Yeah,
from the get-go.
and I was thinking about this a lot yesterday. I was not on that call with Jabbar and AJ because I was, I think, at the grocery store or something. And as I was getting the updates, Max was sending updates and so I was like, oh wow, what a good move. And my initial thought was like, oh, what a great move for Jabbar. He knows exactly when to be flexible. He knows exactly when to like, all right, it's time to cut bait with you, Abby, and let's throw you under the bus and put my eggs in. And at first I was like, oh wow, what a great move for Jabbar. But then as time went on, as I thought about it more, as I saw AJ's response, I was like, oh, wait, maybe this was not as good as we thought. Do I think it's going to land Jabbar in any immediate danger? Not this round. Maybe not next round, but it could potentially in a couple rounds.
Yeah, Jabbar is slowly like adding to the laundry list of potential like nuggets of information that could come back to bite him, starting with the almost Nikki backdoor week 1, and then this whole situation with Daniel and Abby. And Jabbar is just like walking on thin ice at the moment, I think. And like the wrong piece of information getting out could really like shine the spotlight on Jabbar, and it could get messy quick.
And he made a big mistake in telling AJ that he does not trust Angelica. That was a huge error because AJ ran right to Angelica. And Angelica had one of those full stop moments where she was like, la, 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 happy, happy, happy. And then AJ goes, you need to be watching out for Jabbar. And Angelica was like, like on the call, she was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, amongst those things, Angelica now has gone around talking about how Jabbar, Jack, and Danielle have all played a game together, and she is plucking that to be a trio, which is not a trio at all. So now, not only is Angelica now painting a bigger target on Jabbar for this fake trio, Jabbar has also somewhat revealed his true trio of Danielle and Courtney, because he's already now gone to bat for Daniel when he is the house target, and will go home if he ends up backdoored this week. Like, he will go home. The votes are there, and we'll get to kind of this upcoming vote because this Angelica Jabbar storyline does factor in a little bit here because they don't want to discuss it with him, but we'll get there. Let's talk about I want to bring up something that I don't know. The only thing about AJ's HOH thus far, and I'm not really sure it's really his fault, it's the lack of alliances. On day 5 and day 6, AJ was being brought in to these 5, 6, 7 alliances of different trios and quads and five-somes, and nothing formed of it. And even on day 7, he's discussing wanting a trio with Robert and RT, a trio with Erica and Angelica. But yet here we are still with no alliances formed with AJ in it. And as AJ looks forward, as he's not going to do what the house necessarily wants per se by putting up Danielle and Lance, or at least one of them, and putting up Abby and Nikki. He puts up Abby and Nikki, and half the house is aware of the preferred backdoor target of Daniel. He needs to start making sure that he is covered moving forward. And I think he needs to instigate these alliances because everyone's too afraid of looking like we're just kissing his ass, being like, please don't renominate me. I think he needs to start initiating these alliances. Like, when do y'all think is the appropriate timeline in terms of a round to be instigating these alliances, making these alliances where it doesn't seem too kiss ass, but also like it feels real enough to start having some actual longevity to an alliance? Like, where do you think is the appropriate time to be making this move?
I mean, my first instinct is like after the veto ceremony when nominations are set, because then it doesn't look like you're trying to avoid getting nominated. But I mean, AJ said it, and Angelica said it too. Like yesterday or 2 days ago was the correct time before AJ won HOH. So it's kind of too late. I figured that out in season 7 when Jake won HOH, and the first time I talked to him was that day right before he won. And I was up, and I deserved to be up because I did not talk to him for 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. So that is kind of, you're kind of screwed, you know. I have a controversial opinion about this, in that I think they've already missed the boat. I think it's far too gone, actually. I don't see a big group forming this season. I see understood agreements, and I see like lots of like maybe twos and maybe 3s. Maybe we'll get another 4 at some point, but I don't think it's gonna happen anymore, because I think like the thing I love about Big Brother, the power shifts so much, and I think like these people are playing too scared. Honestly, I think there's a lot of fear from this cast of being the person that is like. They're the Macy Love strategy of like, well, I created the group chat. You know what I mean? Like they're so afraid of creating the group chat that because they don't want it to get exposed, and they're just sitting on that, and they're like, well, and I asked Angelica about this last night in her live, and she said, well, like we talked about each other as a group of 4 that's working together. We don't need a group chat to like solidify that. I mean, okay. Like I disagree. Like I think like I said, I think there's a lot of scared things happening right now in these players. They don't want to be the one pegged for pushing the strategy. But then on the flip side here, I think AJ has the power. If AJ wants an alliance, AJ needs to make an alliance. I think like you have the power as HOH, leverage it, use it to help yourself be safe. And that's the way to do it. But yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to see a big group come together here. Basically because I think these players are playing a bit scared. And I think there are so many connections and so many possibilities. I mean, maybe I'm just going to be a little bit more optimistic, but I think I'm more viewing it as they want to keep their options open. Like they don't want to like solidify themselves into a group because there are so many possibilities and options and configurations of what a group could look like. Mm-hmm. There's not really obvious lines drawn in the sand yet, so people are just kind of, as long as it's not them, they're okay kind of like skating along, but one day it is going to be them, and so then it's going to be too late.
Well, and maybe to an extent, like maybe not forming alliances or group chats is the right thing to do, because as we've seen so far this season, every single one has been absolutely gutted immediately.
Yeah, it's been leaked. Like I kind of understand, because like I think there's no alliance that no one knows about besides the people in
the
it,
meat,
right?
I think the Meatballs is the only alliance, which is Angelica, Erica, and Nikki, which is the only one that has not been leaked. But that is not necessarily.
But that's not that is not a power centric alliance. Like they're like it's like a fun little side alliance. It's like
Courtney has leaked Hocus Pocus to Jamar and Daniel.
Excellent. Cool.
Yeah, Plague Doctor's revealed. Detria was revealed.
Table for 3
by Daniel. Table for 3. I don't think people know Table for 3. Oh no, yes they did. Angelica revealed it to Erica. Angelica told it to Erica. Yep, they've all been leaked except for Meatballs. I mean, but knowing Nikki, she'll accidentally reveal it to somebody at some point. So love her to death. Love her to death, but she'll reveal at some point. She'll be like, yeah, I was on a call with Erica and Angelica. Because honestly, I don't know if anyone's told her that like she accidentally revealed this, because no one's talked about it.
No,
like, no one's told
Angelica's too coy. Yeah, Angelica's too coy to be like she's too perceptive and she's too coy to like outwardly be like, wait, what did you mean? What did you mean by that? Like, so.
I want to transition to Max, your friend.
Can we please?
Because that's exactly my next topic. Is poor Lance. So the for the most part, the House would have nominated. Yeah, the House would have nominated Lance for the most part, just because he's around, he is active, but just the conversations just haven't gone anywhere. Like he talks to everyone a lot. It's not deep, and he hasn't realized that the game is afoot and he needs to talk more strategy. So
I mean,
AJ tells him like, hey, like the House wanted you up and I'm not going to put you up because I like you. Lance takes that as, oh, there's a whole big alliance against me. That's cute. Let's talk about it.
Oh God, this call, I was screaming the entire time on my way to Chick-fil-A.
It was so good.
So good. Finally, AJ, like someone tells Lance that the game is happening, because Lance did take my advice in that he is talking to people, and that's why he has not been nominated so far. But now that the easy targets are out, the next level is like, well, I talked to this person, but we don't talk game. And that's what AJ said Lance's problem is Lance, you're not talking game with people. And Lance says, what does that mean, in the most genuine way? Because in Lance's mind, at this point, talking game means bringing up the game at some point in the conversation. So Lance will like be on a call and be like, so what do you think about the nominations? Or what do you think about the results of this competition? And then they'll talk about like just general, like, oh, I feel nervous, blah, 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 blah. But what Lance is starting to realize now, I think, is that talking about the game and talking game are two different things. And Lance has not been involved in any strategy conversations yet. And Lance just is shook. He's very shook. Like he had no idea that the whole House wanted him up. And then Lance immediately just made the entire call about himself.
I mean, it's so hard not to. I mean,
I know.
I'm gonna continue to be a Lance like truther and be like, he's the only new person in this entire game who's never even played a mini. Like, like we were talking about a lot about, people like Nikki or people like who else? Tommy that they've played they've not played a long form game, but they've played minis before. So they know the expectation. They know a lot of the, like, you have to jump into game talk with people. You have to discuss like strategy. I'm going to continue to give Lance credit and the benefit of the doubt here, in that Lance literally is like, what's that movie with Jim Carrey, and he's like in his own environment, and it ends up being like in a big dome at the end. Dang it. It doesn't matter. Like I'll look it up and I'll find it. But like, he's plucked out of nowhere.
Yes.
Right. And put into this environment that he does not understand. And I just like, I don't feel bad for him. Like I don't feel like he's doing a bad job. That's what I want to
Right.
make very clear. We talked. Thank you, Nick. The Truman Show. Y'all ever seen it? It's about brief synopsis. It's a guy who's lived his entire life without knowing that he's on a TV show. So from his childhood, he is the star of his own TV show, and everyone around him is an actor paid to interact with him to make content for the television, for TV.
Oh, that's scary.
I have heard of this.
Yes, it's so good. It's actually a very good movie. Anyway, not that this is not about the Truman Show, but I feel like Lance is kind of like that, where he's like the one person who doesn't know what's going on, and he's plopped into this environment. He's trying to figure it out. We talked a lot about this last season with Anna, and thinking like, if someone would just tell Anna that the game is happening, she could respond to it. And like, I want so much for this to be his wake up call. Like Anna's wake up call, she had to go on the block, right? Lance is surviving that fate because of the type of player that AJ is. I want this to be his wake up call. I want him to like be aware that what's happening. I want him to push forward. I want him to try and figure out what to do. And he said a lot of the right things last night on that call with AJ. Oh, AJ, if there's all these alliances, like, shouldn't we make an alliance? And I was like, yes, that's the right thing to say right here. The problem is that Lance has such we talked about it earlier, a little bit of a delusional state, a delusional idea of some of the other players in the game. When Jabbar said, I'm nominating Abby, he was like, oh, why Abby? Like, no, you should be like, yes, nom her, goodbye, girl. Like, like, you got to be a little bit more self-interested. And Lance is just very pure as a person. And I don't know if he has that mode in him yet, but I want to see him get there.
He did say he was going to be in Survivor game mode now on the call with AJ.
That was so funny. Now I'm in Survivor game mode.
Love him.
And I'm intrigued because there is no history for him. I don't know what to expect of Lance the player. I mean, hell, I didn't really know Lance the socialist. I mean, when he came in day 0, completely shocked me. So I'm intrigued to see. And he has full safety this round. He's going nowhere. He will be at the top 13. And I'm on a trajectory, if he is to win ahead of Household upcoming soon, like, God help anybody who has any ounce of sanity left, because that's what everyone's been saying. The big storyline with when AJ won, they're like, the only thing that could be worse than this is Lance winning. Like, no one knew where AJ's head at, but like, truly no one knows where Lance's head's at. So if he can find himself into some power, it would be so intriguing. Lance is someone to watch, not because I think he's a power player right now, but like, who the fuck knows what this man's going to do? I mean, we've seen this man wake up and choose violence before. Like, this man has woke up, chosen to
Can
lie.
we talk about how he asked? He was talking with Nikki, and he said, "Bet you don't feel good about AJ winning now."
Yeah. Because after AJ won, he was like, "How do you feel, Nikki, about AJ?" And she goes, "I feel good. Like, we had a really good call." And then literally, I think like 2 hours after she gets nominated, he literally like, and they hadn't talked in hours. And he goes, "So I guess you probably don't feel that good like anymore, do you?"
And it wasn't.
I didn't know we were
malicious at
reading.
all.
No,
it wasn't
I was
malicious, but like, just out of context, I'm just like, Lance. My God,
he kills. He's so funny. Honestly, so good, so good.
Lance has been the best thing for Team TV on Big Brother Hometowns in a long time.
Yeah, I to like track to that point about like what happens if Lance wins or what happens if AJ wins. Like, we were begging for this last season. When Tevin almost won that HOH at like the top 14 or the top 13, we were legitimately begging for that HOH because we were like, what the hell is Tevin gonna do? And we kind of got the reward of that this season with AJ, like not knowing exactly where he stood. But I think even more Team Chaos, Team TV would be a Lance HOH. And honestly, like I want time to rig.
Morris. Girl, my comps are coming up. Catch me. I'm kidding. Oh my goodness. Let's hop into some more delusion, and let's hop into the official nominations and kind of where this goes into day 8. So AJ's intentions are to split the house He's like, fuck it. There are alliances around. I'm not in any official alliances. I'm just going to split the House. I'm going to nominate 2 people who are going to fight like hell for this. And people are going to have to pick a side. And this vote is not going to be unanimous. And I want it as close to even as possible. He is content breaking a 5-5 tie. He does not care. He has his target set, and that is fine. Ultimately, he does nominate Abby and Nikki with the intention to backdoor Daniel. He wants the veto to be used so he can put Daniel up. But like, he's not, I mean, if, I think the only person who might not use it would be Danielle and maybe Jabbar. I don't think Jabbar would use it because Jabbar wants Daniel around. It'd be an intriguing conversation because Jabbar and AJ, like Jabbar is putting on a facade with AJ being like, oh, we're fine. But obviously AJ would want him to use it, and Jabbar knows that that's bad for his game. And I'm not sure where Danielle's at. So, I mean, there's a couple people in the game who might not use the veto. So Abby would be the target in that case scenario, and AJ's not that mad to like Abby or Daniel going. He is content either way. Let's talk about some delusion between our 2 targets this week. Poor Abby. AJ goes around being like, I'm nominating the 2 people who've talked to me the least, which I don't tally. I don't know if that's like truly accurate. I mean, I don't think it is, to be completely honest, but whatever. Abby is banking that Courtney's for sure going up, and maybe Erica.
Girl.
Huh?
I love Abby with my entire heart, but her reads this season are so bad.
So bad.
Like, her reads are terrible this season. Where is season 6 Abby? Where's season 3 Abby? Where's season 10 Abby? I need her back, because this player right here, this is not. I don't know what she's doing, and I don't endorse this player.
But this could be the wake up call she needs, because honestly, we've been talking. I mean, day 4, 5, and 6 has been the downfall of Tommy and Abby. We've seen it coming. We just didn't know when it would officially come into play. And as soon as AJ won, I said, "Well, here we go." And she got a rude awakening. She got told, "You ain't shit, love," and she is out for blood. And everyone's like, "Abby's a little aggressive." She's like, everyone's like, she's a bombshell. Like, she will blow up at people, and people are realizing like Abby's not this like sweet Southern girl that everyone thinks. I mean, she is, but everyone's just underestimating the fact that like she's feisty.
Yeah, but don't fuck with her. You know what I mean?
Don't.
Exactly. I think the next step in the evolution of Abby will be realizing that the Plague Doctors is not real anymore, and maybe never was. And then Abby needs to reassess her options, because as long as she's operating under the assumption that the Plague Doctors is a thing, she can't go anywhere, because it's not. So if Abby needs to reach out to anybody who could potentially be on her side, which is probably like the list is small, but to anybody.
But there's one person who she absolutely should be reaching out to, and I'm shocked that she hasn't done it. And that is Courtney. Her and Courtney, and we're not going to talk about why, but they share something very similar that's happened in this game. And I am gobsmacked that she's not bonded more with her. Yeah. They just haven't. And I'm just like, Abby, that is your person. And Courtney is so well insulated right now. Like, yeah, that's what Courtney does. She just finds herself right in the middle of fucking everything. And Abby could so benefit from Courtney's endorsement. And that's the person she needs to reach out to. But Abby really stuck with her people, and she's biting the bullet for it.
So I do agree with you, Carl, that I would love to see her reach out to Courtney for those reasons. But also, I don't think Courtney has a ton of pull or sway in this game yet. I think Courtney is safe. I think she's playing. To me, she reminds me a lot of how Erica played last season, where Erica was just kind of like there, and like where we're like, what is your true intention? What is your true like game and your true thing? And like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like Courtney's got a lot going on. She's got several games going on. She's got family matters going on. Like, I've not seen Courtney give as much of this game. And she said this yesterday on her call.
Courtney knows.
She knows she has not given this game as much as she would like to. And so I don't think that Courtney is the piece of the puzzle. I think the person that Abby actually, I would say Abby needs to reach out to is Angelica, because
I just don't know if she'll,
right, but from from our all-seeing point of view, where Angelica told me last night on her live confessional that she wants Abby to stay and she wants to pull her in, like, you know what I mean? So she needs to be reaching out to Angelica. Does Abby realize that? No. Does Abby necessarily care for Angelica? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
No. That's why I picked someone that was more realistic for Abby.
I'm not sure
Abby's just too loyal. Abby's just too loyal. And once she finds herself at part of a group like the Plague Doctors, like she rides with them to the death. And I don't think Abby is going to be as flexible as she needs to be in this moment. Like she's like, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down with my people. And
she needs her people to get picked off, so she has no option than to be flexible. If she can be the last remaining person from, like, especially from her and Tommy and Daniel, if she can be the last remaining person from that, then I could see her finding an avenue and a path. But agency, no.
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean,
she lost that credibility week 1.
So many people benefit from Tommy leaving. Love you, Tommy DiCarlo, but so many people benefit from your ass going home. So, deuces.
Yeah. Can I say something, Carl?
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the point you made earlier with AJ's nominations being like he wanted to force this like really great gap between the two people on the block, and I absolutely love that move for AJ. I think it's not always a good move. Like, I would argue that that's what Daniel Kennedy did in season 10 in putting me and Quinn up on the block, which I don't think was a good move for him because neither Quinn or I was coming for Daniel.
Yeah.
However, in this situation, I think it's a great move for AJ because these are people who would have absolutely nominated AJ. These are people who absolutely are involved in alliances that AJ does not know about, and he's going to rip this game wide open. And then what is AJ going to do? He's going to take his blanket, he's going to cover himself back up, and he's gonna skate through, unless like whoever survives wins HOH. That's obviously that's always the risk, but like I thought him and Nikki had a really great call yesterday, and if Nikki survives this, which I think we all assume she will, like, I don't see necessarily Nikki coming for AJ because I believe that the people that are connected to Nikki are going to tell her not to go for AJ, and they're going to point the gun somewhere else. So I don't see this backfiring for AJ in any way. And I think it's a really great move. It's a very self-aware move.
The other person I want to just we'll get into the split vote. That's the next thing on my agenda after. I just wanted to talk about Daniel, babe, love, hon, sweetie, bless your heart. I thought his reads were really bad on his call with Angelica. That like on a personal level went well, but like strategically not so hot. And he was like, I love Angelica. It got real bad after this man is planning his own funeral. He's like, it's done. I'm going home. It's over. He has a 10-minute call with AJ where they don't really talk about a whole ton of shit except for AJ just making jokes and laughing. Daniel leaves that call going, I'm good. I'm so good. Like, he told me I had nothing to worry about for initial noms. I'm good. I'm sitting back pretty.
He's like, ooh, I threw Lance and Danielle under the bus. I am peachy. And then when he didn't get nominated, he's even more secure.
Oh, yeah, he literally has been saying, he's like, oh, if AJ doesn't nominate me, he like, I'm working with him. Like, he's my person. I'm like...
And it's like the only reason he's gunning for the veto is to save Abby. But it's like, bro, you need to save yourself.
Yeah, like babe, it ain't it. So we have Abby and Nikki as our nominees, Daniel being the target, the intention to backdoor him. Let's get into Angelica already trying to figure out the votes to send either Abby or Daniel at the house, depending on what happens with the veto. For some reason, Angelica thinks that if the noms stay the same, it's harder to save Nikki. than it is against Daniel, which I don't necessarily think is true.
Well, I think Angelica's operating under false information.
Correct.
She believes that Tommy will vote to save Nikki, and I don't think he will. I think he will save Abby or Daniel, and then leave it up to I'm gonna try to hide, and it was somebody else. I truly believe that Abby and Daniel are Tommy's number one priority, and if there's a way that the three of them can escape this week together, they want that.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like Nikki is probably. Yeah, it's tough. If it's Nikki versus Daniel, Daniel's going. Nikki versus Abby, I don't know.
It's hard to know because we see a foursome kind of come together, not as a formal alliance, but they've all agreed we are sending home Abby or Daniel. If it's Abby or Daniel versus Nikki, we're sending the person next to them home. And if it's both of them up, if AJ is to win the veto per se, he's going to remove Nikki and put up Daniel and ensure Daniel's fate of going home, and they're all going to vote out Daniel. And that is Erica, Angelica, Ryan, and Robert. And Robert also holds the block of vote advantage here at top 14, meaning there's only 10 votes to cast, meaning they only need one more vote to tie it up 5-5 and allow AJ to break the tie, not in favor of Abby or Daniel, depending on who is on the block. But here's where the funny part is Ryan, I don't know why Ryan really wants this. Ryan really wants this vote to be split.
Yeah.
He wants it.
He's bored. Chaos. He's bored and he wants chaos. That's is all Ryan wants.
But what is so dangerous about this is they're going to plan to leave people out of the vote, and they're just not going to talk about it. They want the House to go. They want the House to go vote out Nikki because that's what the other people would want in the game because they don't connect with Nikki. But they're operating under the pretenses that Tommy is with them on this vote because Tommy's going to vote in his better interest, which is not true. Tommy's not going to. I mean, it's true that he'll vote for his better interest, but he's not going to vote to save Nikki.
I love that. I love that.
I'm worried that they're going to keep it between them four, operating on the false pretenses that Tommy will be with them. They have the 5 to tie it up. It does not matter about anyone else voting. We have no need to talk about it because we don't want to be pegged for flipping this vote. And then the vote not go their way. I am very concerned. I mean, I love the mess. I love it. But I'm very concerned for them that they're trying too hard to be sneaky and chaotic when they really should just focus on take out the person you want. Just take out the person you fucking want. Don't make this fucking difficult. Other thing I want to bring up, someone brought it up in the VL, and I think it's a good point. Do you think that AJ should have just put up Abby and Daniel? Because I do.
I do. I think it was a mistake, and I think Nikki almost talked him out of it. I thought they had a really great call yesterday, and we've continued to say, Nikki is great on call. She needs to do more of them with people that she does not know. I'm going to continue to say that is what needs to happen. I don't care about the VL who continues to say she's doing a great job because she is with the people that she likes. She needs to do better with the people that she doesn't know. And in that call with AJ yesterday was indicative of that. She almost talked herself off the block just by being who she is and vibing with AJ. And I think AJ made a mistake in nominating her. But I think that I think he should have just put up Daniel and Abby because now Daniel's in the veto. Daniel can take himself and Abby safe, make them safe, and then AJ's shit out of luck, honestly.
And we have no clue what this man will do. Not a damn thing, because the only person that was on his short list was Danielle, but Danielle was kind of removed by the sole logic that Lance got, which was you're the house target, therefore I'm not putting you up and I'm not wasting my week on you.
Yeah. So if Lance and Danielle are both still off the table for him in that scenario, then who does he put up? He doesn't have any other options.
I mean, there are people he could.
Yes,
but there are people. I mean, do we see Jabbar?
I think Jabbar is the most likely option actually in that scenario. I would
God.
love. I would live.
Jabbar versus Nikki. Oh my god.
Love that drama.
Oof.
So looking forward today, it's going to be I wouldn't say a slow day, but our veto is not happening until 10 p.m. Eastern, and then the veto decision will happen midday tomorrow, and then we'll still have the eviction tomorrow.
This cast loves to pretend like they're playing the game.
Oh.
Like the number of Skype notifications that I get daily that contain absolutely nothing relevant is amazing. And then but then they everybody's like pretends that they're busy, and then the minute something happens, everybody's Skype explodes. Like we had there was literally nothing yesterday, and then the results are on, and then it's like chaos for 5 hours. Like, oh, so y'all were here, y'all could have been strategizing, but you didn't.
So, I mean, do we have any predictions so our veto competition is for sale. They would have had 24 hours to prepare for it. I'm confused, particularly by AJ. So AJ, Abby, and Nikki are obviously playing as the H-Witch and the two nominees, and then selected by random draw is Daniel, Danielle, and Jabbar. AJ is intriguing me because this week is so crucial for him. And I don't know, and maybe it's because he hasn't been posting in his prod chat and been like explaining all his thoughts. This is a game that you can game. Like, this is a game that if you really think through it, take the proper notes during the game, you can do well at this. Much like Sushi Go, it's something if you pay attention and take notes, yeah, it's going to make the game a little longer, but if you do it, it's to your benefit. And I don't know what's going on. Like, it doesn't seem like he's playing a whole ton. He's not practicing. He's not really diving into the strategies versus Abby and Daniel, who have been practicing all night. Daniel is prepared. He has notes ready. It's concerning because this is AJ's big move and big week, and he's not really investing time into a veto that you can prepare for.
Yeah. But I'll push back a tiny bit, because while I feel like you can prepare for this, there is still an element of, it's like in Super Smash Brothers, like when you're playing with someone who's never played before and they just smash the button. Like, you know what I mean? And you're like over here trying to pull combos, and then they're just like smashing buttons. Like that's what playing for sale is like. Like, you can be prepared, but then if someone comes in and is just like, I'm gonna bet $10,000, like, you know, like, and they get like a good play, and then it comes down to the luck of like the strategy. There's a lot of luck involved in for sale as well, because it's strategy, but it's also luck. And so I don't know. I do think that this game favors the prepared. So I would put my money on Daniel or Abby pulling something out. But like, we've seen with Can't Stop and Sushi Go in the past, people who haven't prepared at all, and they just like luck their way into something. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
And also,
it's possible.
I feel like AJ's attitude towards this game does not like make me think that he's gonna stay up all night preparing for a veto. Like AJ said, like, if this move screws me over, then whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I think AJ is just like here to have fun, which
he's here for a good time.
He's here for a good time. Maybe not a long time, but maybe a good time.
Exactly.
And so like Abby and Daniel are just like laser focused on winning this, and AJ, just his whole approach to the game is like not that serious. So I'm not surprised he didn't like stay up all night.
Yeah. It's just intriguing to me that like this is his big move, and especially now where Daniel can compete and win and ruin your entire fucking week. Why are you not? Why are you not preparing? Why do you not have a strategy in mind? Why have you not considered gaming this with people? Because they will start in trios. But the fact of the matter is like he wants himself or Jabbar or Daniel or Nikki to win. I'm shocked that he hasn't come to each and every single one of them to try and discuss throwing it to one of them, playing so that they can just fuck over Abby and Daniel. I'm just surprised that he really hasn't taken this opportunity to really end Daniel's game. So it's just shocking. But any predictions for today of what's going to happen in For Sale? Because I'm going to root for Daniel for Team TV.
Oh my God.
Yes, same. And I'm rooting for Daniel because he was my winner pick preseason. He's a good friend of mine. He's putting a lot into this game, and I would hate to see it be cut short for him. But also, that's the game, baby.
You know?
Whoever we lose, it's going to hurt. It really is. Like, we're getting to the point now where like any boot that we have is just going to sting a little bit. Yeah, I'm nervous, but you know, and For Sale, like I'm not even going to try to predict who's going to win because I don't think you can.
No, I mean, unless you're Susie Caldwell. Every time I play with Susie Caldwell, she always wins. So, but again, what doesn't Susie win?
I mean, exactly.
Like, period. But any people you want to mention? Any last minute things kind of from day 7 that we haven't talked about? I know we've been going for 52 minutes, but I mean,
strategy.
We've had. I mean, day 7 was chock full.
I'm excited to see what happens. Honestly,
Jack still delivers with the puns all the time. I
Oh
live.
my god. Oh, I will say this, Daniel, if you watch this postseason and you somehow are in the top 13, you better be thanking Jack for fucking everything, because Josh was unavailable to pull the chip.
Yeah.
So I did a wheel decide, and I was like, I'm going to let someone in the house pick the timer on the wheel. Jack picked 8 seconds. Oh, and it picked Daniel. So if you're still here, Daniel, you owe Jack like some DoorDash or something. Like, you owe this man. So
Yep.
Jack, I'm rooting for you, babe. Get your dues. Get something from this man.
Exactly. I think we've about covered it.
I think so too. And knowing this cast, we're going to have so much more to talk about in the coming days.
For sure.
Especially if this veto goes awry for this majority group that so desperately wants Abby or Daniel out. So we'll see what happens tonight. It'll be at 10 Eastern, hopefully done around 10:30, 10:45. Obviously, we'll keep you all posted in the VL. I'm not sure if we'll live stream like us watching it and narrating what's happening. We'll figure it out. But for my first-time guest, Max Teddy, for the winner of Cutthroat All-Stars, Mitchell Stokes, and for me, CLC, that is it. I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 for more tea. Stay thirsty, my friends. Bye.
Bye.